Hey guys, I know it's been a while. It's a shame. I know it's my fault, but I wanted to get back to you guys. Today is actually day 243. Skipped a lot of days without telling you guys a lot of stuff, so I have a lot of updates. I'm probably gonna break it up into a couple of parts, but you know, one of the reasons why I'm talking to you guys again about my process, about this 365 days of entrepreneurship, after day 65 or whatever it was, I was thinking to myself, not really sure why I'm doing this. I'm taking up a lot of my time, recording and then editing the videos, and then, not being able to work on whatever thing that I felt like I needed to do. But one of the things that I kind of realized in the last couple of days is that, when you hear advice from entrepreneurs and people who are successful, from you're hearing that advice when they're already successful. So they've been in success mode for so long that it's hard for them to talk and give advice about things when people are, they're here and then you may be down here, and when you're hearing that advice, it just doesn't connect because it's coming from a place that's so far from where you are that it just doesn't quite make sense. People just say, like, just do it, or whatever their advice is, and it just doesn't seem to connect very well because they're just not in the same mindset. They're not in the same position that you may be in, working from the very bottom. And then the flip side of that is that you're not going to listen to somebody who's in the trenches with you because they're not there yet. I think that's one of the reasons why, I don't know if you guys know who this is, Gary Vaynerchuk or Gary V. He's documenting what he's doing. He's already successful, but he's documenting everything that he's doing because, you can see what he's doing in the trenches, and if he becomes successful later, let's just say in an industry that he's not successful in, you can see how he was doing that when he was still in the trenches. And that's kind of what I'm doing right now, is that I'm not really quite, in my mind, I'm not really there. I'm not quite successful just yet, even though a part of me still feels like I'm, living the dream because I'm being able to work every single day doing whatever I want. But, I'm still pulling money from savings, so I'm not quite there yet successful where my stuff is creating the income that I need. But that's good for me recording these videos because I can tell you things that I'm going through, things that I'm learning, because I'm still in the trenches. And later down in the road, if I actually do happen to become successful, maybe you guys can listen to these videos and learn some of the things that I've been doing at the moment that I was doing them, so that they make sense. They're more in context about maybe where you are right now, so that they're actually probably a little bit more helpful than just some super successful entrepreneur telling you something that doesn't make any sense because they're over here and you're here. So that's kind of why I'm coming back and recording some of these, so that I can help you guys, because I feel like that's something I need to do, and a little bit more of it is me being selfish about it, because I want you guys to listen to what I've got to say and to know about what I'm working on so that you guys can talk about it. But that being said, the last time I left you guys was day 65, and I was talking about creating a new app, because Ironhide was doing so well. Still doing well, actually, but Ironhide was doing well, and I wanted to know what it was about that made it so successful. I had assumptions that it was about it being based on Iron Man and Marvel, which turns out that obviously that was partly true. It's not completely true, and that's why I tested this. So the next app that I built was an app that I wanted to build for a very, very, very long time. It was actually the first idea that I ever came up with. And so I built that app. It was a puzzle game, and I eventually called it Mission Tesseract. It took me I think maybe like 2 months or something like that, 2.5 months to finally complete it. It's a little block puzzle game. You can move a little guy. Maybe I'll put it in this video, but you can move a little guy and you try to go through the puzzle. And I was super excited. It took me a long time to finish it, 2.5 months, which to me is a long time to spend working on something where I only have 12 months. But I spent that time, and I was super excited, and when it finally came out, it bombed, which really, really sucked. But and still, even to this day, it's been out for several months and it still hasn't been doing very well. So it's a free app. I tried to do the same thing that I did with Ironhide. So it's a free app. It's got in-app purchases, but it's just not doing very well, and it's just not getting a lot of downloads. So there's not a lot of people using it to even get the proposition of upgrading anything on the game. And so my assumptions, I guess, on Ironhide being that it was being a lot of the reasons why I was assuming that I was successful about it being associated with Marvel and Iron Man, it kind of lent a little bit more weight onto that. But I still really wanted to test that out because I knew that building Mission Tesseract and it bombing didn't give the final nail in the head, because maybe, there was something about Mission Tesseract, something else, and why it didn't succeed. I really want to know for sure. And so the only way for me to realize for sure whether Ironhide was successful because of the association with Marvel and Iron Man was to build another app. So what I did was I tested this assumption by creating another app that was as close as a duplicate as I could come up with to Ironhide. Obviously that wasn't the same thing, but I created another app that took me, it was really fast. I wanted to do it really quick so that I could test this assumption, so I built it in maybe like a month or so. And the app is called Heroes Armoury. And so what it is it's an app in where you can it's like the 3 best weapons from Marvel. So you got Iron Man's shield, you got Captain America's shield, you've got Iron Man's gauntlet, and then Thor's hammer. So like you can do things like it's got lights and it moves and it shakes, and you can swing Thor's hammer and throw it and then it'll come back to you. You can swing Captain America's shield. You can shoot people with Iron Man's hand. So it was something as close as I could get. It had Marvel Association and it had Iron Man's Association. It also had Captain America when Captain America Civil War was coming out. So, this really was I was trying to make it the perfect timing with Captain America Civil War, and I wanted it to be as close as a duplicate as I could make with Ironhide. So that I could test all of these assumptions. And what it turned out was that the association with Marvel and Iron Man and anything popular for that matter helps, but it's not the end-all be-all. So what ended up happening was that what I did realize eventually was that the reason why Ironhide was doing so well is because it ranked so well on the App Store. So if you search for Iron Man in the App Store, it's the number one app, or at least currently it's the number one app that shows up. When Heroes Armoury came out, I was doing a lot of work on this website called Sensor Tower, or you could use App Annie. I liked Sensor Tower a little bit more because it gave you a little bit more information for a lot less cheaper. But it gives you information about App Store optimization, which I think honestly is really the key in creating or in making sure that your apps are successful. Because what I realized was that if your app isn't seen, it's not going to get downloaded, and if it's not going to get downloaded, you can't make money off of it. You can't make money off of the ads. You can't make money through in-app purchases. And so, Heroes Armoury, I did the best that I could on trying to make it rank for, terms like Captain America and Marvel, basically all of the keywords that you can think of for Marvel, Thor, all of that keywords, and even tried to do things like, the long tail, where it would be, Cap's shield or something like that. I tried it all, and doing all of that helped, but it still couldn't get me to the level that Ironhide was. And so really what I eventually found out about apps and how to make a successful app. Well, obviously you need to have a very good app. It needs to do well. It needs to be functional, and it needs to be fun, or if it's a utility, it needs to work. But the number one thing that's going to make the difference is visibility. You need to have it either rank well in the App Store, or you need to have, advertising. You need to have people know about it. If it's not seen, if it's not known, nobody's going to download it. And I think that's why Ironhide did so well, is because I got lucky and built that. I actually built that app a really, really long time ago, like 6 years ago. And then I, updated it recently. But, 6 years ago, there was no augmented reality apps. There were no Marvel or Iron Man apps. So it was, collecting a bunch of users over the years. And when I finally did update it, there was, tens of thousands, maybe even hundreds of thousands of people who had already downloaded it that went to the upgraded version. And when they did that, they started buying things. It pushed the rank of that Ironhide app way, 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 way up, so that it became number one when you search for Iron Man. And then because of that, it just stays up there, because people, I get, 400 to 1,000 people downloading it every day. And so I can't really duplicate that. I built Heroes Armoury, so maybe 6 years from now, it might be successful. I might have enough people over the years who have downloaded it, and I'll make a fancy update, 6 years from now, and then it'll blow up. But I don't really have 6 years. So that's what I realized about Ironhide. That's what I realized about building Mission Tesseract and Heroes Armoury, and basically with apps in general. So my advice to you, and I've actually given this advice to some people. Well, Ella, the little pup, is moving around. My advice that I've given to people who've come to me about, hey, I've got an app idea, like, what do you suggest? And my suggestion is you actually, one of the things that you need to do is you either need to reverse engineer what the market wants. So you can go to an app like Sensor Tower, that website Sensor Tower, and you can see that there's a bunch of people actually searching for keywords, and there are no apps for those keywords. So you can reverse engineer it that way, because there's people who are looking for that type of app. There are no apps there, or at least there's very minimum competition. So that would be a good app to build, and then you would just make sure that you optimize your keywords and your App Store optimization content, so that you will rank higher for those keywords that have minimum competition, and then therefore you'll rank higher, and then therefore you'll get more visibility. And if it's a keyword that gets searched a lot, then your app will be downloaded more. I know this doesn't sound very sexy. It's not really a way of thinking about apps. It's not really the romanticization of how people want to think about building apps, but that's honestly the truth. Now, that's just one way. If you've got money and you can run ads, which, Apple is doing that now, where you can do you can do ads on the App Store. Right now, it's a very intro time to be in there. There's not a lot of people there, so that might be a good idea. But advertising is always good if you want to do Facebook ads, but it's expensive. I don't know. Expensive is relative, but if you don't have any money, the better way to go about it is to reverse engineer the market. If you've got money, then I suggest that you do advertising either on Facebook or on the app stores themselves. So what I realized with building apps is that really all of that meant that the most important thing that you need, besides having a really good app, to make it, is to have that attention, those eyeballs, whether that's through ranking high on the App Store, or whether you're paying for those eyeballs through advertising. You need the attention. You need eyeballs to look at your app so that they can download. If they don't know about it, they can't download it, and they can't give you money. So what I eventually decided to test out was I could pay for ads. Didn't really want to spend the money. Or I could reverse engineer the market and build an app that they would want, that had minimal competition, to ensure that I would rank higher in the App Store for those keywords, and so that people would see me more. I could do those. The problem with those two that I had issue with was that they're not going to help me outside of the context of that one app. So if I created an app, if I created another app and did paid advertising, as soon as I stop paid advertising, I'm done. It's finished. It's that paid advertising isn't going to help me when I build the next app. It might. There's some users who check out, let's look at all of the developers' apps, but that's very minimal. I wouldn't bet that there's a lot of people that do that. And then the problem with reverse engineering the market and then build that app was that, you do that work, you build an app, it's great. Then you have to do it. You have to do that thing entirely over again. So basically what I'm saying is that those attentions, those eyeballs that I collect because of either one of those two ways, they're not going to help me in a future app or a future project that I do. So which came to the realization or the idea that I needed to collect attention. I needed to get eyeballs that weren't about a specific product. I needed eyeballs and attention that cared or were interested about me. Me as a brand. Because if I can collect, whether that's an email list or social media, if I collect that eyeballs, that attention around me as a brand, that'll help me in whatever I do afterwards. So I could, if I've got an email list of, 1,000 people, and I've got, tens of thousands of people who are following me on, Facebook or Instagram or Twitter, they can be helpful. Those are people that I know that I can reach out to and let them know, hey, this is what I'm working on next. Go check it out, and then I can divert that attention that I have to the next product that I have. And that seemed very, very sexy and interesting to me, because then I wouldn't be working so hard onto getting attention and eyeballs just for it to last only on one product. So that is where the next phase leads, and this is probably going to be in the next video because this is lasting a long time. But that is basically what happened in the after day 65, then the next couple of months. So yeah. All right, guys. In the next video, I'll talk a little bit more about what happened next after I decided, hey, I need to make a personal brand.